Welcome to the City Council meeting. If you could please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Parnell, would you mind leading us in the prayer?
Shall we pray together? Our Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening with grateful hearts, giving you your thanks for your protection and mercy over the City of Portage. We have witnessed the power of the storms that came through the community, And yet we are reminded that you are greater than any storm. Lord, we thank you for protecting our lives and for watching over our families, our neighborhoods, and our community. Thank you for every person that was kept safe, for every home that was spared, for every life that was protected. We give you the glory and the praise. Father, we lift up to those who were affected by the storms. Be close to those who have lost their homes, their property, their belongings. Give them strength when they are overwhelmed, peace when they are afraid, and hope when they don't know what tomorrow will bring. Provide for every need and surround them with people who will help, encourage, and support them. We pray for those who are working to clean up and rebuild, to give them strength for each day and remind them that they are not alone. Lord, we pray for our mayor and the city council. Give us wisdom, discernment, compassion, and strength as we make decisions for our city, and guide us as we respond to the needs of our community. Help us to work together with unity in a servant's heart, always seeking what is best for the people of Portage. Father, we also lift up our police officers, firefighters, EMT, and public work employees, and all the first responders. Thank you for the men and women who run toward danger and others who are running away. Protect them, give them strength and courage and endurance. Watch over their families as they faithfully serve our community. We pray for all the volunteers, churches, organizations, and neighbors, businesses that are stepping forward to help. Let this difficult time bring our community together. May we see neighbors helping neighbors, people caring for one another, in which we have, and the love of Christ shining throughout the city of Portage. Lord, when the winds are strong and the circumstances are frightening, remind us that you are our refuge and our strength and a very help in the present in the time of trouble. Continue to bring Portage and protect, bring healing where there is hurt, restoration where there is destruction, peace where there is fear, and hope where there is uncertainty. May you bless our city, our leaders, our first responders. Bless every family affected by these storms and guide us as we stand together. We place the city of Portage in your hands, trusting you to lead through every storm. This we pray in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
All right, we go ahead and we'll do the roll call.
Absolutely. Councilman Alvarez,
Here.
Councilwoman Weidbach,
Here.
Councilwoman Hurst. Here. Councilman Parnell,
Here.
Councilwoman Vasquez,
Here.
Councilwoman Ambler,
Here.
Councilman Zilli.
Here.
All right. I'm going to ask you guys about the minutes first, then I'm going to move on to the swearing in of the firefighters, if that's all right. If anybody had any motions or comments on the minutes?
I'm going to
So-
move to table the minutes until next month, given just how long they are.
No
Just a bit
problem.
more time.
Well, I mean, I can't say no problem. Sorry, you need the council to agree with you, but that sounds
Second.
reasonable. We have a motion and we have a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Liz, I believe that passed. We're going to begin by swearing in some of our new firefighters. Is our chief here? Oh, there you are. Chief, would you like to come in and make some introductions? Then I'll make my way over there for the swearing in, as long as everybody doesn't have to leave for an emergency right now.
Yeah, we'll see. Somebody's going. No, never mind. All right. Tonight, I feel privileged to bring forward two firefighters for swearing in. For about 3 weeks, this made us full staff. We had a firefighter resign. Today was his last day, so we are now one short staff. But we are honored to bring forward two new firefighters. They will be starting the academy probably within the next week or so. First, I have Dominic Walton. You can bring your family up.
Raise your right hand, and then you'll repeat after me. When I say state your name, you'll state your name, and then when I say swear or affirm, you can pick either swear or affirm. I state your name.
I, Dominic Walton,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States of America,
and the United States of America,
the Constitution
the Constitution,
and the laws of the State of Indiana,
and the laws of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
execute my duties
execute my duties
of my office
of my office
as a member of the Portage Fire Department
as a member of the Portage Fire Department
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and according to the law,
and according to the law.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Yep.
Oh, sure.
No, you absolutely go in.
You might sign this paper too. Congratulations again. Oh, that's so easy. Sorry. I thought that was the other one. I'll sign that. Thank you. So much, sir.
Next, I'd like to bring up Audrey Kalechis.
All right, same thing as before. When you're ready. I state your name.
I, Audrey Kalechis,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States of America,
and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution
the Constitution
and the laws of the State of Indiana,
and the laws of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
execute the duties
execute the duties
of my office
of my office
as a member of the Portage Fire Department
as a member of the Portage Fire Department
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and according to the law,
and according to the law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sure, get in the photo. You want me to use your phone too?
Oh, yeah. Your phone?
Take a picture? Sure. I'll get you. Mayor, hop in. All right, I got a couple photos. There you go. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
We have communications, correspondence, announcements from the mayor. I'd actually like to start by extending that to every city council member. I know that our community has been through a lot with the recent weeks when it comes to the derecho that came and swept through. I thought maybe I would start with the council president, but if anybody just wanted to say anything about what you saw as a city, I just wanted to make sure that I welcome you guys to speak too. I know, Victoria, you asked in particular, but I thought it'd be good to extend that to everyone.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want us to realize the extent of the damage, not only with our structural damage, but for the families that have been impacted and affected by this and the great loss. And one that happened in my district, in the 3rd district, was with the Rice family with the explosion. So I would like to ask everyone to have a moment of silence for our casualty here during this storm.
Thank you. Would any other council people like to speak on the matter of the storm that we went through? Oh, sorry.
Can we have a moment
Oh, I'm
of
so sorry.
silence?
Yes.
Let's take a few moments. Thank you.
Now I should say, would anybody else like to say anything on behalf or about the storm?
I'd like to just, excuse me, share a few words of gratitude to our Portage Fire Department. I didn't post about it on social media, but I had a family member, a very close family member, who found herself in perhaps the worst spot in the entire city during the storm, under the one-lane bridge on Samuelson Road, with trees fallen on both sides and nowhere to go. And needless to say, it was a very hectic drive home from Crown Point from work that day, but thanks to the Portage Fire Department, who came and cleared a path for my family member to park her vehicle, to the neighbors who came out and made friends with her, and it really showed the community coming together. It was really something to be proud of. We've been through a lot, there's no doubt about that, but together we're getting through it, and thank you again to the Portage Fire Department. You have my ultimate eternal gratitude. For being honest, I mean, it's a different level when someone experiences it with your family. So thank you again.
I would just like to thank the whole city of Portage, everybody pulling together, the volunteers, the bonds that people have created through this. It's been a horrible experience, but it's also been enlightening to see the bond that we as a city of Portage have with each other. And thank you for everybody who has been helping out, meeting new neighbors that you didn't even know, and just bending over backwards. And all of our employees that were working when picking up trees and clearing roads and helping people that were stuck in houses when many of the employees themselves had damage done to their homes and trees down. So we all pulled together, and I think we did amazing.
And I'll just add my thanks to all the city employees, to every council member, the clerk treasurer, the mayor, all of the city administration for the communication throughout the storm and what we were dealing with. I saw every single day someone else was posting what was going on in the city, where can help be found, checking in on people, what do you need at any given time. I was driving around with Chief Candiano, helping to deliver water, and just seeing when we were walking up with a case of water and saying, we're here from the city, we know people are needing this right now, just the sense of pride people had in what we were dealing with in Portage and coming together. And I also want to say, I saw countless people who don't even live in Portage, who were coming here to help us clean up, to help us move trees so NIPSCO could get to utility lines so they could get power back as quickly as possible. So it was really a whole region effort to come together to just help, because us and Gary and Munster and Chesterton were hit especially hard in the northern half of Lake and Porter County. And to see just the help from all over come together was really amazing.
Thanks. And I would just like to add that I thought it was so extremely heartwarming to see during such a time of trouble and chaos, so many people working together and helping their neighbors. And I just hope that we take away from this sense of camaraderie and keep up those relationships with our neighbors that we made during this time.
I want to say something too. I actually wrote something a few days ago because I'm really not good at winging it. I start stuttering and saying like, and then everything goes blank. So I put all my thoughts into this. So I would like to give special recognition to KDP Graphics, Wiener Wagon Racing, Ryan Sumler, Tim Mendez, Matt and Mindy Mulaski, Andrew Bennett, Bob DeRunce, and State Senator Rodney Pohl. I personally watched them demonstrate what genuine community service looks like. They gave their time, contributed their resources, worked through the heat and exhaustion, and helped wherever they were needed, or I asked them personally to go. They didn't just talk about supporting the community. They did the actions and put their money where their mouth was, rolled up their sleeves, and served when it mattered most. Their response required hard work, sweat, sacrifice, and sincere concern for their neighbors. In the aftermath of the disaster, those actions can make an enormous difference to residents who may feel overwhelmed, frightened, helpless, or unsure of where to turn. The strength of a city is not measured only by its buildings, roads, finances, or how many times our mayor gets tagged on Facebook, but also by the character of its people and by how they respond during difficult times. Those mentioned above reminded me that community is more than a word. Community means showing up, working together, and helping others without waiting to be asked. On behalf of the City Council and our community, I want to express my sincere gratitude for your generosity, leadership, and service. Your efforts did not go unnoticed, and we deeply appreciate them. The derecho may have caused tremendous damage, but it also showed that our community spirit is stronger than any storm, and we love our mayor even more. Thank you to everyone who stepped forward to help, and especially those being recognized tonight for answering the call when Portage needed them most. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I also wanted to say, you know, Scripture says, love your neighbor as yourself. And that certainly was exemplified by the residents of the entire city, not only my district and District 2. In fact, on my block, there were about 4 families that did not have a generator, couldn't afford a generator. And so in the street, running from my house and other houses, we ran extension cords across the street so our neighbors could have their refrigerators plugged in and have a little bit of light in their house. And so I was just impressed and very thankful. As the Scripture says, love thy neighbor as thyself, and we've certainly seen that in the city of Portage. I also this evening want to recognize our mayor. I have never seen a more selfless person and a person who loves his community as our mayor does, and I'm thankful to be a part of the City Council to serve under Mayor Bonta. I just thank God for him.
Thank you. If I could say, and thank you so much, Bob, and I do love the city, I love all of you guys. I know we have a whole bunch of fun and we have a whole bunch of different work that we do together as a team, and I appreciate you guys. I want to say this very carefully here. I got a lot of recognition by some people in and out of our city for the way that we, maintained communication during the derecho and the days following up, and I'll have something to say about that in just a minute, but nothing that I could have posted, nothing that I could have shared, none of the updates I could have gave would have been possible without everybody who's working for our city as a team in every department at every level. I mean, I suppose I could have been posting every hour explaining that nothing was getting done but, you know, if we weren't making any progress, but that was never the case because our city was on it. So I want to start by taking a minute to thank everyone in our fire department, our police department, our street department, sanitation department, utilities, storm and field, parks, our clerk treasurer's office, our planning department, building department, everybody from the clerical to the union to the administrative. I always say that in an emergency, we will never be the kind of city where anyone says that's not my job. And oh my goodness, did everything become everybody's job during this storm. I would say this, nobody could be completely prepared for a derecho or an inland hurricane, as some would call it. In 2023, if I'd been asked in a mayoral debate or an interview, what's your plan to handle a hurricane, I would have thought that was a throwaway joke at the time. But what I will say is this, is that we were as prepped as any city could be in the circumstances. I happened to be with the Wiener Wagon Racing team, who's here today. We thought it was going to be a stormy day. Oh, thanks for the dramatic effect, Chief, with the lights. That was a lot like what it was like.
I honestly don't know what
That was amazing, Mike. But
We got a power outage, call NIPSCO.
to give you an idea, though, that was so cool and dramatic, Mike. Thank you. But to give you an idea, we watched the sky turn green, then black, then everybody was told to come in, then we heard all the noise, and the first call I got after the main boom and sound and wind was over was a call from Mike, who said, "Mayor, the whole city is destroyed." And that's a quote. And stepping outside of the high school admin building, I honestly did not know if maybe it was like that Designated Survivor show. What if Mike and I are the only two city officials left and we're going to have to rebuild the city together? I couldn't have been further from the truth. Not only was everybody on our city team physically okay, everyone was already assembling from wherever they were to turn this very council chamber into our incident command center. To all of our different admins on the public safety side and on our public work side, again, suddenly everybody stopped having one job and everything became everybody's job. Everyone did what they were most skilled to do, most qualified to do, but we got the city organized quickly. We also built on previous storms because even though the derecho was the worst, I think that we've had multiple storms in the last 2 years. We've had storms this very summer. Each one prepped us for how do we do better next time. And by the time that came in, when we hit, we had a tremendous machine going. From our fire and police going around, one, handling every emergency, because it's not as if people saw a storm and said, man, we better not commit any other crimes during the storm or get into any other trouble. But then also identifying all the downed trees. I lost count after 166 blocked roads. So if there were more after 166, I couldn't tell you. But on a Tuesday night, having 166 blocked roads identified by our police, going through our amazing IT team, going through just all of that, it was something to think about how fast we were able to get it open by that Thursday, the Friday, and then ultimately the rest by Sunday. But that is the extremely diligent work of our teams, as well as all of our different volunteers, be they corporations, be they unions, a combination, or citizen volunteers who stepped up. And I thank all of you for that. I also want to acknowledge that nobody was prepared for a derecho, but as much as anybody can be, our Portage community was prepared, from neighbors who went out and checked on each other, to neighbors who cut open the roads when we were, I hate to say we didn't get there fast enough. We were getting there as fast as we could, but if you got a chainsaw and there's no wires in the trees, have at it, just be careful. As a city, we not only had a it's not my job mentality, we had a it's everybody's job mentality. And for the coming weeks after, it was incredible to see how many people continued to lend support to clear up yards, to distribute food, distribute water, supplies, people reaching out, and I think we did a pretty good job also facilitating that community-wide. Tell me that's not another storm. No, but too soon? Too soon. But thank you all. What I would say, and be safe, please travel well. What I would say, though, to really kind of sum that all up, is you don't always get to pick where you're born or where life, takes you. But to be in a city like this, I could not be prouder than to be a Portage resident, and couldn't be more honored than to be a mayor of a city that stepped up the way that we did. To all of you on the city council, thank you also for all the ways that you guys stepped up, whether that was serving food, cutting up trees, answering questions and making sure that I got poked if somebody had not reached me yet that needed to be, or volunteering at the command center. You all did incredible. I also want to give a moment also, I know you've got your own report, Liz, but I feel like this is a good segue to you, and thank you for all that you guys did too.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'm going to keep mine short and sweet. And all I'm going to say is I want to thank all the residents, the city employees, the community, all the help that gave all the help during the derecho. And it makes me proud and it makes me humbled to see how Portage residents came together. And to see everyone come together in a time of need. We had people from Chesterton come to help. We had donations from Chesterton. The City Council from Chesterton donated a bunch of water. I mean, we had people from different communities. I see Ryan in the crowd. I've seen him here every day. I was here every day. I seen Bob Durantz, who's also in the crowd, come here every day. He lives in Chesterton. There's a number of them. Haley Mack, I can't name everybody. I'm sorry if I can't, name off the top of my head everybody, but I also want to thank Leanne, Chief of Staff of Austin's, who helped out tremendously. She was here every day tirelessly doing a lot of work. And I do want to thank the mayor. I have never seen something come together so fast in my 24 years on the council, but then again, I never seen a storm like this in the history of the city of Portage that I've lived in for 70 years. So it's amazing that everybody came together and the city council coming together. I seen one of the councilmen out there with a chainsaw, which I was very shocked of. In fact, I didn't see everybody out there with a chainsaw, but I know they were there like midnight turns. Gina was there, Melissa, and I know, Penny, you were working overtime. Victoria, you came down here. Bob, I know you were tied up with your own street, and also you were down here. Ferdinand, Colin, you guys just stepped up to the plate, along with our city attorney. I mean, everybody in the city came together, and it just makes me proud to say I'm a Portage resident.
Liz, would it bother you if
also
I
had-
jumped in? Oh, sorry, maybe you should jump in first.
Sorry, but I just have also, many people I know that have moved out of Portage have actually reached back as to how can I help, and that goes to show the pride we have.
I
do have another thing to add for my report. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. We do have to do some city business eventually, yeah.
Okay. The city clerk treasurer's office currently is doing a software computer update conversion, and it's currently underway. This is the first week of it, and we will be getting with the department heads to get them trained as far as the new program goes. I have the fire department scheduled for tomorrow morning, and along with the HR department, and also Austin, I'm going to have to schedule you, Leanne, sometime this week maybe, or next week. They'll be here Monday through Thursday of this week, and then Tuesday through Friday of next week. So, and I just want to say, bear with us, because it's a big switch. It's going to be a lot better. You guys will be getting, you'll be able to check daily the appropriation reports. It's just, I can't say enough about it. It's on the cloud, so you shouldn't have any trouble accessing it from anywhere. I want to thank my staff for doing their due diligence, because I was tied up most of the week last week, and also the week of the training. That's the very first training. That was our first go live, a pre-go live, and I was tied up for that whole week trying to get everything together in the clerk treasurer's office for helping as much as I could. But I do want to thank them. They were a tremendous help. Thank you, everybody, for stepping up.
Thank you. I think at this point I should probably also say, if you were here for the swearing in or anything in the beginning, you are welcome to head out if you like, but you're also welcome to stay. I just got a message from our city attorney who said, I won't say exactly what he said because I think there's a typo in there, but although the police chief might disagree. But you guys are welcome to stay, but in the event anybody wanted to head out, you can. We'll just give you a minute, and then you're also welcome to just stay. That's cool, too. And as people are heading out, anybody who's sitting or standing who wants to sit down, you're welcome to come and sit down. And at this time, I will open it up for petitions, remonstrances, and public input. If you'd like to come and speak, we ask you to come, state your name, and try to keep your remarks within about 2 minutes. Now it's open. Hello.
So I was going to present her with
You can hand it out to him?
official, yeah. Yes, sir.
I'm the light dimmer, so I can do this too, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. I'm sorry. That is okay. Thank you, Mike.
No problem. I gotta fix the lights anyway. There we go.
All right, give me just a second here.
No problem. I haven't started the timer. You're good.
All right. You let me know when you're ready to go, and I'll
We're all good.
take it away. Good evening, everyone. My name is Chantel Sedlacek, and I'm a resident at 5615 North Creek Avenue. You each have a physical document in front of you that I handed to the clerk tonight. I am here to request that this council officially review that text to close a fatal public safety loophole in our city code regarding portable gas generators. In the immediate wake of our recent disaster, Portage Fire Chief Chris Crail took to social media and issued a direct public safety mandate to our residents, stating on the record, never use a portable generator inside your home or garage. Keep them at least 20 feet away. Mayor Bonta, you mirrored that. Fire Chief's exact warning on media and on your own official pages explicitly stating, make sure they are 20 feet away from your home. But this is the reality. Everyone in our city government is saying 20 feet online, but nobody on the ground has legal authority to actually enforce it. Tragically, we know exactly why our city leadership gave those specific directives. We lost two of our own, Salvatore and Deborah Fargo, to carbon monoxide poisoning because a portable unit was run too close to a window. Severe weather is no longer just a coastal problem. Our Northwest Indiana weather patterns are aggressively changing, and prolonged power outage are forcing our families to rely on portable generators as a common necessity, not a rare exception. High-risk hurricane regions across Louisiana and Florida, they do not just print 20-foot safety guidelines on Facebook, they have progressively updated their laws to enforce strict 20-foot zones because they know soft education fails where lives are on the line. I want you to think it only takes 20 feet to save a life. We can do better for our people. Are you going to help me help the people of Portage be safe? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's very appreciated, and we'll make sure that what you give is given to our city attorney for review. I'll talk with Dan because it's something I've definitely been thinking about. Anytime that we have a city ordinance, we have to study not just feasibility, but also the enforceability, which is also a matter. But everything that you're saying is extremely important. And yes, we do put out a lot of information, and we do appreciate that there's people who read it and try to follow it. We also want to make sure that if we're making a true rule, that we have the ability to enforce it and enforce it fairly. This is a very serious issue, and so we thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Oh, come on up. Tell me when you're ready. You actually have to pay a 10-cent fee for the pen. I'm kidding.
Sorry, I'm a slow writer. So as you know, I could probably stand up here and talk about flock cameras until I'm blue in the face, but that's not what I'm here to do today. I do just want to very briefly, I'll keep it under that 2 minutes, acknowledge the hard work of this council. It wasn't just noticed, by the people of Portage. It was noticed all across Northwest Indiana. especially those in Valpo. Where I live over in South Haven, it was noticed. Your hard work should be the example, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, whatever your political alignment is, your guys' hard work should be the standard. That's all I wanted to say, and I just wanted to express my appreciation. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Come on up.
Hi, my name is Joe Gritch, and I live on Gaylord Avenue, one of the lesser-known streets in the city, but I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to thank you, like the previous speaker also. From the day of the storm, I was at my mom's house in Hammond. Getting home, I was at about 10, that was an adventure. I was about 10 cars behind a street department truck clearing McCool to get it to be a one-lane path. And anyway, it's just been outstanding, and you all of you did a nice job. All of you, thank you.
Thank you so much. Would anyone else like to come up? Oh, come on up. Hey, you. No, you're welcome. You're a citizen of this country. You're a citizen of this world.
Hi, my name is Eva Zabo. And what I was thinking for the city is if you would make sure that all of the power's back on can you guys try to do it as soon as possible? Because I would like if everyone's power would be back on, please. And Austin Bonta, thank you if you could do it as fast as you can.
I saw a picture. You were up on some poles.
I was up there climbing to get
connecting
some on
lines,
and
right?
fixing some weather
Maybe that
heads.
was
Yeah.
AI. I don't know.
It's hard to say, and I'll never tell. But I saw the one where I was a lineman. Where I'll just say I don't think I've ever been in better shape in my life than that one photo. I'll just leave it at that. We're doing everything that we can. We don't directly control it, but we're trying to make sure that the people who do it, believe me, they hear from me every day and from everybody. So thank you. Any other comments? Oh, I mean, he can go too if you want.
You take one, you're going to have to get the other, but now comes Mom. Hi. Hi, sorry about that. Jacob, no, you need to sit down or you can come after me, okay? My name is Jessica Zabo. I'm a resident and usually a rabble-rouser with the things I have to say. But tonight I do want to thank you, as many other people have. But I'd also like to point out a couple other things. We are standing here tonight because of the unstoppable spirit of Portage. Over the last few weeks, our city faced a great level of devastation. But although the response from our community was heroic and a united front, the response from our state leadership was a failure. I would like to say shame on Governor Mike Braun, who dragged his feet while thousands of Hoosiers sat in the dark and continue to. He has yet to follow through on so many promises for the region, and instead of taking accountability, has tried to pass the blame onto a utility monopoly that he himself has allowed to operate scot-free with soaring rates and zero repercussions, until now that it is far too late. The real leadership didn't come from Indianapolis, it came from right here, on the ground with our bare hands working side by side together to get our city functional again. A massive thank you to our first responders who kept us safe during the chaos. Thank you to our city council members who did boots on the ground work side by side with common folks in neighborhoods. To the out-of-state linemen who left their own families and worked grueling hours to turn our lights back on, we will never forget your hard work. To everybody, to everyday people, neighbors, and fellow citizens of Portage, you all showed building community is still possible, no matter how different we all might be. I just wanted to say, even though the state has failed us, we picked up the pieces together and took care of each other. Thank you for your grit, your kindness, and your tireless dedication, all of the citizens of Portage. Solidarity now and solidarity forever, working class pride forever.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I do just want to add, I think it's important to thank, the employees at NIPSCO, Penny included, who work tirelessly. I mean, any gripes we have about, NIPSCO leadership and the way NIPSCO approaches things is not about the everyday employees who are out there making sure our power gets connected. I mean, they were working 16-hour shifts, day in, day out. Thousands came in, like Jessica just said, leaving their families in other communities to come here to help us. So I just do want to make sure we're thanking all of the employees who were doing everything they could to make sure our power came back on as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Sir, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Antonio Gutierrez, and I'm a lifelong resident of Portage. I wanted to remark the last speaker's comments about our state office holders. Northwest Indiana wasn't the only place hit. Central Indiana was hit with devastating floods compared to what we were hit up here. Thousands of people lost their homes and everything they have. They only had what they had on their back. I am a state employee of the Secretary of State's office, and every one of our statewide office holders were out volunteering in communities across the state. Just because we did not see them up here helping, it doesn't mean they weren't out in another community helping. We had state senators up here helping, state representatives up here helping. So I highly, highly disagree with the remarks that were made by the previous speaker. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and you are welcome to your opinion, and I'll try not to wade too much into that sort of debate. What I will say is that I've never heard we're working on it more often than when I talk to the state or the governor's office. If anybody would like to tell me what an experience it was trying to get any attention for our city of Portage, happy to do it. And for any state representative who came up and helped, I know Rodney Pohl Jr. did quite a bit, and I want to acknowledge his amazing work as a volunteer while you're at it. But if there's any state official that was up here in Portage doing work that I missed, please feel free to reach out to me. What I will say, though, is that simply put, I've had people ask me, what did the governor say when he called you about the storm in Portage? And what I've had to explain is we never got a call.
I was just about to say, I believe multiple state officials came to Lake County, never once showed up in Porter County, never once called officials in Porter County.
And
on top of that, the National Guard was deployed in communities in Lake County, not once during the storm and the immediate aftermath in Porter County. In fact, 64, I believe, were deployed.
64 were deployed to Lake County.
And none to Porter County.
On the Wednesday night after the storm, I was initially called by the state and said they would send the Department of Corrections to come to our city as long as we paid with our tax money for the porta potties. Yes, and I told them, no, we can't do that because I had a very short time to even make a decision, and logistically, we were not able to know that our porta potty company would be able to move that around. Later on in the week, the state said, what if we got, I think they said INDOT would pay for the porta potties. And I said, that's all right. And so that led to some DOC, crews coming in. We were told that on the Sunday, immediately after the storm, the National Guard would be coming to Portage. I reported that, but they were only coming to cut open the roads that were still down that had the wires. So because we needed NIPSCO to come out first to decommission the wires, we had to have NIPSCO first come out and make sure that they were all safe to touch. They weren't, so that got delayed. Now the state teams from DOC and some other state people did come to cut up after NIPSCO decommissioned, but by that point, our incredible public works team and volunteers had gotten over 95% of our roads open. So, Mr. Gutierrez, I appreciate you, and I appreciate anybody who came up, and I'd love to talk to them if they came and never introduced themselves to me. I'd love to meet them. But in regards to getting the state to notice that Portage, Indiana suffered a tragedy, I have never been more awkward than trying to be on the phone, trying to get this state to take our city's situation seriously. And I didn't want to have to say that, but I guess sometimes at some point people are going to ask me what actually happened. What happened is I was consistently calling, trying to figure out when the state was coming to our community too. And what I got consistently was, we're working on it, we're working on it, we're working on it. And then they came, they cut open some trees with DOC after our team and volunteers had gotten quite a bit cut up already. And then we moved on as a city. And that's where I want to stress though too, and I think that this is very important to me because I sensed something in some of the comments said, and I don't know. This is not a partisan thing. This is not a Republican or a Democrat thing. And I know that because I experienced it on the ground. We're up here with Republican and Democratic council members, and you know what? I don't care anymore. Because here's the thing, I don't know if you've noticed in the last 3 years, we have almost never had a partisan vote on the council, and when we have, it's been coincidental, quite frankly. Even on the darn bow and arrow thing. Sorry, I didn't want to bring that up. But here's the thing I will say on this note. Portage is not a city defined by Republicans or Democrats. Portage is a city that is defined on people who are either positive or negative. And by negative, I don't mean people who are mopey all the time, and by positive, I don't mean people who are happy all the time. I'm not happy all the time, okay? Negativity is believing that for some reason things can't get better because there's just something about us, either by some curse or bad luck. Positivity is believing even when things are hard, we can make it better. And that's what we've done here in Portage. If you are a Republican or a Democrat for national reasons or even state reasons, I get it, that's life. But here at City Hall, here on this council, we are in the road pickup business, we are in the pothole fixing business, we're in the trash pickup business, we're apparently in the storm recovery business. And we will be for as long as it is, but I also can't stress this enough. Even though I spent a week trying to make sure that the community stayed informed, even though I spent, well, more than a week, but that first week after the storm, even though I spent that first week after the storm trying to make sure we were rallying this community, keeping spirits up, which wasn't easy, even though I spent a week working with my team trying to organize resources for people in need, even as we continue to get roads cut open, bring in volunteers, all of that, I also welcomed help from the state of Indiana. And up until the Friday of the first week, I didn't have any clue if any was coming. By Sunday, we knew something was coming. But to this day, I have received no actual call from the governor's office about the devastation in my city. And what was especially awkward about that was having other elected officials call me, asking me if I could get them in with a meeting with the people in the state that were coming up to Lake County. And I said, I'm not in those meetings either. I don't want to speak to the motivation because I don't know. I don't want to name any names about the people that I talked to who work downstate because I know that some of them might very well have been doing the best they can to get attention to Porter County and Portage specifically. But I will tell you, I'm not the only Porter County official who is completely confused and quite frankly just bamboozled about why the state of Indiana gave Porter County so little attention. And I could give a whole nother chapter called LaPorte County, but I'll leave it at that for now.
I'll also add that we've been getting, for the last 2 weeks, daily updates from Congressman Mervan's office in regards to federal emergency declaration, how best to access FEMA aid. Every day, we get an update from the congressman's office. We've received nothing from the governor's office, any state official, neither of our senators have been providing any updates to us.
Colin, I will say, Senator Banks sent me on 2 different correspondences on the emergency,
Sure.
but only to
For
clarify.
you.
Oh, I apologize for everybody.
All of us, get daily updates. And it's direct assistance. How can we help? Here's all the information you need about how to apply to FEMA for assistance. How can our office help ensure your residents are getting what they need? So we are getting responses from some officials, just not state officials.
To my knowledge, Mayor, there are no mobile FEMA offices in Porter County yet. They're all
Not
in
yet.
Lake County, and I think that's horrible.
We've been told it's coming, and I put out that it's coming next week is what they're saying. You know, right? As of today, I've been told by the Porter County Emergency Management Agency that they are getting close to getting the state to set that up or FEMA to set something up here. But as of right now, we don't have a set. We've given them all sorts of dates and times that we're available over at Woodland Park or other places, but as of yet, we're still waiting for it to happen.
Our residents have to go to Lake County to apply for FEMA help, which
It
is
is
terrible.
It is crazy and makes no sense.
I do want to add another one to thank is our Township Trustee's Office. They have gone above and beyond on the shelters, staying 24/7, and the food, helping provide housing for those that have had, I want to thank them. It's been really cool.
And I just want to add that we have still residents who are experiencing the aftermath in certain pockets within our community. So even though it seems like 95% of our city is back to normal, whatever normal is these days, there are parts of our city that are still without power, or they had power and now the power is being turned off again. It could be because of the restoration that's going on between NIPSCO Lines and Xfinity and any other service providers. So just, again, please watch for your neighbors, watch, to see who might need a little extra help. let us know so that we can let other resources know and get out to them as well. But we're far from being back to whatever our normal is going to be. We have plenty of residents that still have trees down in their yards, and where do they go with them? I do want to mention there's been a little bit of confusion, I believe, on social media about whether or not there's open burn for some of your trees that are down, and I want to emphasize that no, you cannot have open burn. I mean, if you want to have a big, huge bonfire, but other than that, please do not try to burn your debris in the city limits during this time.
All right.
I have
Go
just
ahead.
thought of
Oh,
this.
no, go ahead.
Two other call-outs specifically to thank because Comcast was brought up. Surf Internet, and I think, was it Frontier that also put out a truck?
Surf Internet and then AT&T to the
AT&T,
charging station.
for helping to provide Wi-Fi access because so many people, even when their power was back, didn't get internet service back for like 2 weeks. So Surf was here, AT&T was here providing free access to those that needed it, especially as someone who works fully remote. If I had not had my generator, it would have been very, very hard to work without power. So as someone I know, there's a lot of remote workers, having that ability to be able to access Wi-Fi is a huge help.
I'm sure we're going to think of other people that we need to thank. So in between various votes and things, feel free to come up, especially if we need an icebreaker in between some of these. Well, wait a second. I just remembered I need to thank some. Feel free to do that. Do we have any reports from standing committees?
Today, the Ordinance Committee met prior to our regularly scheduled City Council meeting. We discussed the IDEM Stormwater Uniform Ordinance, which basically incorporated some regulations from IDEM into the current city code that was approved by the Ordinance Committee and will make its way to the council next month. The public comment ordinance that was hotly debated, unfortunately, we didn't have time to get to that with the storms. Our city attorney's been swamped, no pun intended. And, yeah, and we invite the public to attend our next regularly scheduled ordinance committee meeting next month on the first Tuesday of each month at 5:30 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We could do reports from city officials. I think I'm going to have you guys wait unless you really feel a need, just because I know we've got kind of a busy meeting ahead, unless either of our chiefs had something particular you guys wanted to say. I know Candiano always wants to talk, but okay.
I'll go quick, but I mean, I want to go with the theme of thanking people, so. It's a feel-good meeting, right? So, yeah, first off, just real briefly, I want to acknowledge a couple things, but first of all, I don't think those were the exact words I used when I called the mayor.
There might have been an expletive in there I left out.
Yeah, so Captain Biggs and I we had been teaching a class, and we stepped outside about the time it was hitting, and as we started seeing the trees go around us, and I felt maybe my car was going to get picked up, we were like, we need to get back to the center of town. And in the first 30 seconds, I think we encountered, 5 or 6 trees down, and we weren't even sure if we were going to be able to get away from the school that we were at. So I believe I called the mayor, and it was something along the line of, the city is expletive. We need to get a command center up ASAP. Let's get everybody to City Hall. So, and that was pretty much summed it up. I've been doing this for almost 24 years. I've never seen damage like that. I think we'll be sharing stories about it for months to come. There's so many different things that went down and happened, and so many behind-the-scene things that came together to keep us functioning that, we'll probably be telling these stories for a while. So that being said, the stuff that was done behind the scenes, remarkable. The fact that we did not have more injuries and fatalities is amazing to me. Within the first half hour or so, when we really started getting the emergency calls rolling in, our police officers, our firefighters, we couldn't get anywhere. Every road, as you guys know, was blocked. Every subdivision was blocked. We had police officers, firefighters out with chainsaws. We had street department people showing up. We had citizens coming out of houses trying to cut holes so that we could get to emergency scenes. Crazy. The fact that I don't want to diminish that we did have injuries and a fatality, but the fact that it was what it was is, I'm still not sure how that happened. So real quick, I just want to thank our city employees for the work they did. Like I said, this was set up as a command center here at City Hall. Every department was playing a role in it. The amount of things that go into something like that, the cleanup, figuring out where the problem areas are, trying to get emergency personnel in, and then once that's done, then the aftermath that you have with a city that has no power for multiple days, people that don't have gas, that don't have all the things that came with it, the potential for crime at night, the emergencies that are incurred when people who rely on certain health things are not there. I mean, it was nonstop. I think at one point we ran to like 150 calls in 8 hours, and I compared, if you ever stayed the night in Chicago and you hear the sirens all night long from the fire trucks and they echo off the buildings, that's what it sounded like in here as we were sitting in here with the door open, and I could hear the fire department running up and down Central all night long. It was a wild experience, but again, just the city employees, thanks to all of them. I am incredibly impressed with the fact that we were able to get the major thoroughfares open within a couple hours so that us and fire could respond. So to Randy and his team, I don't like to thank people other than the police a lot, but I'm just joking. But I mean, for everybody that was involved in that to get us the ability to get where we needed to go was amazing. We've been kind of adding up some hours. It looks like we, as a police department, worked an additional 611 hours in strictly storm-dedicated service during that time, and we cut that off like mid last week, even though we were still doing some stuff. So I want to thank my people for the hard work they did, and then I got to thank my admin team. Most of us worked 16 and 17-hour days, 3 or 4 days in a row. My team, they do not get paid overtime. That is all volunteer work, like these individuals out here that were volunteering for the community. Yeah, it's our job, but at the point where you hit your time period, it's volunteer work too. So we couldn't have done what we did with having our team in place. And then as you went through it, there were two different things or people that we didn't, I think we missed, and if we said it, but Portage Township Schools. So a crazy thing that probably nobody really thought about, but we got to the point, we were running so many calls so fast, we were blowing through gas. Where do you go when there's no gas stations open and your police cars are out of gas? That was at about 3 o'clock storm day, we were in trouble. Our supervisors were calling us and telling us we got cars on E, and we're reaching out to the sheriff's department and they're saying there's no gas other than Michigan City or the south side of Valpo. Well, when we're getting our butts kicked, I really didn't want to send squad cars out to Michigan City. So I believe somewhere along the line, my assistant chief and the superintendent for Portage Township Schools had a conversation. I believe that's how it transpired, and they opened up their fuel pumps to us at the school. Not sure how we would have gotten through the next 2 or 3 days without that. So again, thank you to them. We were also involved in multiple food pass outs with them. So another entity that probably needs to be thanked. And then lastly, again, I'm probably forgetting a million people too, but our social worker, Morgan, I've talked for a long time about how important that position I thought it was on a day-to-day basis. Put your city in a crisis where you have tons of people in crisis, and you really see what your social worker can do. Coordinating all, everybody's, we didn't have a lack of people wanting to provide things, but somebody's still got to coordinate that. How are we getting those to the people? How are we finding out who's in need? Where are we staging those things? Where, all of that stuff that goes into it. And, we had a great team, including Leanne. If Leanne called me one more time and told me that we had another drop-off site we had to set up and we needed traffic control for us, I was going to block her phone, but I mean, in all honesty, that's the stuff that was going on. So I think it's okay to have a feel-good meeting every once in a while. You guys, we can all, we can be mad at the police next week or something, or next month, but, really, really amazing stuff that we saw out there, so
Awesome.
that's all.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Crail, you want to come up too? I'm sure you got something to say. Every department head is welcome. I just didn't want to put you guys on the spot if you weren't ready.
Well, I had no intention of coming up here until Chief Candiano came up, and I can be mad at the police right now. Like everybody else has said, I mean, there were record numbers of calls, but also, like Councilwoman Weidenbach, I cannot ad-lib, so I had to prepare something. The number of calls handled by the fire department was unprecedented. The storm of August 11th was an eye-opening experience for everyone involved that day, as well for the crews who continued responding to the needs of our community in the days and the weeks that followed. I'm extremely proud of the work we performed by our personnel, especially proud to report that despite the volume of calls and the conditions throughout the city, not a single call for service was missed. During the time of the storm and throughout that 24-hour period, one crew handled 213 calls for service. That is including a house explosion, numerous structural collapses, houses on trees. 213 calls, that's unprecedented for the city. And for the month of August, we handled 119 calls. Again, I mean, you guys hear me every month. I'm up here and we're somewhere between 400 and 500 calls. 1,100 or 1,019 calls for the month. I will say, and I'll get to this, so here's me ad-libbing and going completely off script, but on top of all these calls for service for 2 weeks, my assistant chief of EMS was going to houses and delivering oxygen to residents that did not have oxygen for 2 weeks. That's very commendable. It shows what we truly were able to accomplish when we all came together. My sincere appreciation goes to Battalion Chief Tom Pfeiffer and his crews for their efforts on August 11th, Battalion Chief Ross Steffel and Battalion Chief John Novath and their respective crews also managed extraordinary call volumes during the days that followed. Their leadership, along with the professionalism and dedication demonstrated by every member of this department, represents the very best of the Portage Fire Department. I'd also like to recognize and thank every individual, department, organization, contractor, volunteer, and community member who has worked to help to get our city back on its feet. In my 32 years in emergency services, this was the most severe storm and widespread devastation that I have personally ever encountered. At the same time, we witnessed something equally significant: neighbors helping neighbors, departments working side by side, and an entire community coming together during an incredibly difficult time. As we move forward, I would ask that everyone listening tonight to remember that recovery does not end when the roads are cleared, the power is restored, and the debris is removed. Many people in our community, including those who responded to the storm, are still recovering from this catastrophic event in their own way. Please continue to be kind to one another, extend patience and grace when you can, and remember that we may not always know what the person standing next to us has experienced or is still working through. Thank you all very much for the opportunity to serve. I appreciate it. I don't have anything else for tonight. Thank you.
Would anybody else on our department head side like to come up? No pressure. Just want to make sure the invitation's for you. All right. I will move us over to introduction of ordinances. We have Ordinance 2618, creating new funds. I'm going to ask, our attorney, you read this now. I'm sorry. I'm still not used to that.
That's all right, no problem. All right, ordinance number 26-18, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Portage, Indiana, establishing and amending fund line item titles and account categories for city departments. Let the record reflect that this ordinance has been read in its entirety. In summary, what this is doing is it is setting up additional line items within the budget to allow departments some flexibility in where things like disaster relief donations, recruitment and retention donations, like for the police National Night Out, and just different funds to make sure that all the money is organized properly. So again, this is just, this is a first reading. However, again, this doesn't change any fees or anything like that, no zoning. So if you want to suspend rules, that's something that could be done on this one. The entirety of this ordinance is to provide that flexibility for the clerk treasurer's office to just get things done. So that is what's happening with this.
I'll make a motion to suspend.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to suspend. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Because it has to be unanimous, I got to check.
Yes.
But I didn't hear any no's, so I believe that passed.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion, and Liz, you note the second?
It was Melissa, correct? Oh, I'm sorry,
Your
Penny.
voices
I'm
sound very
sorry.
similar, sorry. We
I got it now.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I think I voted in the last one. I'm sorry. Please don't count my vote. I think I did that out of habit with RDC and Board of Works. Okay.
I did not hear you, so.
Okay, good. All right, that'll get us to our second reading of ordinances. So we have ordinance 2613, amending Article 4, property maintenance. Attorney Bartnicki?
All right, and this is ordinance number 26-13, an ordinance of the City of Portage, Indiana, amending Article 4, property maintenance of the City of Portage Municipal Code by adding or amending certain sections regarding dead, diseased, or dangerous trees. Let the record reflect that this ordinance has been read in its entirety. This is one of those moments of irony. I've been working on this dead, diseased tree ordinance for about 3 to 4 months. This is one that I told the ordinance committee, they heard this story already. This was brought to me by the departments to work on. So what this ordinance is doing is basically getting some dangerous tree, dead tree, and diseased tree definitions out there and clarifying whose responsibility it is to maintain the property and maintain these trees. So once again, this was recommended out of the ordinance committee. This makes some very logical updates, and it's one of those things that I sure wish we would have gotten this one about 2 or 3 years ago.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Gina, did you want to say something?
Yes, I know this was created before the storm. How is this going to affect now with everybody from the damage of this storm?
Well, I mean, so what this does is it just clarifies when trees are damaged or diseased, where the tree is, where it is on property. It clarifies who's actually responsible for those. And so it is if you have a complaint about a tree, then it would go to code enforcement, and they would go through the typical notice of the violation. And then if it's not cured, you would get a letter from me reminding you that you do have a notice, and then a citation would proceed. So it's a 3-step process before.
So Dan, in the situation that we're in, we're getting to this later with the emergency declaration. This is an example of something where the city has the authority to be like, we're in an emergency, we are waiving the provisions of this said ordinance. Because like if you have a bunch of trees on your property and you can't get rid of them right now,
Right.
we're clearly not going to go out there and issue citations
Absolutely.
and fine you.
Absolutely
which is why we
correct.
have the emergency declaration later on.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So our order of operations by rule of our agenda doesn't quite cut, but yes.
And just to be clear, these are for trees, this does not apply to trees that are already down.
So that's the fun fact. So a tree that is diseased is a tree, it's standing. Once that tree falls, by definition, it becomes debris.
So this first part is just about standing diseased trees, or dead trees, but standing. Is that correct?
I was just double checking because it's been a while, because again, yes, I have been swamped. Yes, this is just dealing with the trees, not debris.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? And if not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it passed. That'll then get us to ordinance 2614, amending chapter 54, article 4, neglect premises visible to public. Attorney Bartnicki.
All right, away we go. Ordinance number 2614, an ordinance of the City of Portage, Indiana, amending Chapter 54, Article 4, Section 77 and 78 of the City of Portage Municipal Code, entitled Definitions and Neglected Premises Visible to the Public. Let the record reflect that this ordinance has been read in its entirety. Again, as a summary, what we discovered, I meet every Monday morning with code enforcement, and in those meetings, we discovered that we were citing as a violation to the definitions section. So the way I explain this is, it's like saying you have just violated the color blue. Well, no, if we have an ordinance that says you can't wear the color blue, you violated that duty to not wear blue. You have not violated the color blue. So we are cleaning things like this up. That is literally all that's going on here, is making sure that we're citing to the duty to maintain your property, the duty to not have junk motor vehicles. We don't cite to the definition of junk motor vehicles. That's what's going on.
Kind of relating to when you came up and spoke about, and I'm sorry, I'm gesturing to you, but when you were talking about the generator, making sure our ordinances are enforceable. So this is an example of where we identified in a spot in the city where we technically have an ordinance, but either by language or the way it's done, it's not enforceable. So what this does, if I understand it, is allows it to become. Yeah, I don't know if anyone, yeah. Sure. In this case, this is, I think, a language change that makes a existing ordinance enforceable. Is that fair to say, Dan?
Well, yeah, that's one way to explain it. Also, we're basically making sure that when code enforcement cites a resident for noncompliance, they're citing to the duty, not to a definition.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
So we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? I think that passed. People think I can control the weather, and I can't, but I gotta admit, it's a little weird. We had these ordinances up, and no, kidding. All right, we have ordinance 2615, amending chapter 42, article 2, certificate of completion. Attorney Bartnicki.
Ordinance number 26-15, an ordinance amending Chapter 42, Article 2, Section 74 of the City of Portage, Indiana regarding certificate of completion requirements. Let the record reflect that this has been read in its entirety. In summary, this was brought to me by the Planning Department. They wanted a clarification on when companies or occupants needed to come to the Planning Department for a certificate of completion. And so there was two words, instead of saying any change in the condition of the property, they wanted it updated to say at completion of final grade. So that is the sum total of the change. So it was just clarifying that the certificate of completion is to be filed for at completion of final grade. That's it.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? I believe that passed. That'll get us to introduction of resolutions. So first we have resolution 2616, issuance of RDC bond. Attorney Bartnicki, did you want to start just briefly?
Sure. All right. Well, resolution number 26-16, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Portage approving the issuance of bonds of the City of Portage Redevelopment Commission and related matters. Let the record reflect that this resolution has been read in its entirety, and I believe we have a few experts on hand to discuss this one.
About this is a bond not about any one infrastructure project, although there are certainly some infrastructure projects in it that are bigger than the others. There's no issue of us being able to pay off this bond as structured. That said, it also has the ability to be sped up depending on the sale of certain land. So there's really 4 areas that this bond does in the city, and I'll explain why I strongly support this. And I also recognize that these are some pretty big projects. So on the south end of our city, this is the extension of Veterans Parkway or Veterans Avenue that better connects the traffic flow and also makes our developing retail area accessible or more accessible for the traffic flow. On the east side of the city, this is a significant project for Samuelson Road and for Central Avenue near their intersection, but also taking care to make that a more permanently taken care of road. It addresses our downtown, where the city has been for the last 2.5 years working with the owners of the old Portage Mall to purchase the Portage Mall parking lot, which allows us to transform that into the first street of our new downtown. It's the sort of thing where if I asked you guys to budget general fund money to do, I don't think we'd ever be able to do it because I think that we've got bigger expenses we need to take care of than that. But it is a transformative infrastructure project to finally have the kind of walkable downtown. It's still not going to happen overnight, but it's a huge first step in that downtown process. And then also it involves the ability to create the bridge that connects Burns Parkway over the waterway, sometimes called the Little Cal River. Some people try to call it Burns Ditch. I always insist that it's a waterway. They still have the sign. I'm working on that. When I have a better relationship with the state, we'll get that changed. But to put it simply, I know, right? But to put it simply, it opens up nearly 300 acres of development, and it transforms the cost of the land that the Redevelopment Commission has spent a long time over the last 2.5 years getting all put together into one sellable piece of property, potentially transforming a $15 million sale to a $40 to possibly $50 million sale, depending on the connectivity of it. I know that there are some big ifs to that, but at the same time, it's also something where you can't time a deal like that perfectly to a council vote. And that's not said in disrespect to you guys at all. It has to do with the ability of the RDC to be able to move when we have a partner. I've communicated with you guys as you've asked about it, about how we're going to go about that project, but putting these 4 projects together, it does something really extraordinary for us. It allows us to pay for what I think are the top infrastructure priorities from the redevelopment side of the city, while freeing up Redevelopment Commission money to assist the city next year. Basically, without this bond, the Redevelopment Commission, which I sometimes jokingly call Uncle RDC when the city needs money to cover things, we're going to have to pick and choose what redevelopment projects we actually do as redevelopment projects and where we're going to help the city financially. By being able to do this bond, we're essentially saying these are our top projects, paid off by the bond, possibly sped up by the sale of land, although a big enough sale of land is also going to help the city because that sale goes to the RDC General Fund, which is much more liberal. I don't mean liberal like Republican, Democrat, like free when it comes to how we help the city with a sale like that. To put it simply, I strongly support this bond, and I appreciate the work that's been done to get this together.
So I guess just a brief question. Is there a scenario in which, how do I put this? Is there a scenario in which they cannot fulfill this, or then we're left off the hook, or on the hook, I should say?
I can answer that. They
Thank
have
you.
enough funds to pay the bond off, in the increments it's at right now. And it was my understanding that they will, if, once some of the property's sold, they will put it towards the 15 million to reduce the bond payment whenever property's being sold. Am I correct?
It's something we can definitely be strategic about, because certainly with a large enough sale of land, if we want to shorten the amount of time it takes to pay off the bond, that's something we can do. But we want to consider, we're talking about primarily the bridge and the result of it and transforming the value, per acre. But to put it really simply, if we were to have the kind of sale that we are aiming for and that we know that we have interested parties, I know that there are 4 companies I could call right now who would buy the land if they knew that the bridge, was set and could come. We want to make sure that it's also something very meaningful for the city, but we also need to acknowledge the fact that the city does need to be able to be financially secure into the future. And even though it seems like the RDC has spent a lot of money over the last 2.5 years to actually purchase all the property up there, and I give a lot of credit to our RDC members and our school representative who's here today, but I'm really thankful that you're here today too. But to put it really simply, we knew that by putting those properties together, we were increasing the value of the land, but the bridge itself is also what then increases the value of the land, or I should say the ability to build the bridge is really what brings it to the kind of sale quality that gives us the best return on that investment we've made. But I also don't want to downplay the significance of starting the transformation of our downtown, and I use that word transformation not as a buzzword. I think that our city has wanted a walkable downtown for some time. I think that it's not a process that comes fast. There's no magic wand to wave. But what I am really proud of is that we're starting the real redevelopment of our downtown with the mall. And so much as we have ongoing work, and to put it simply, I think that the kind of business investment we get on Route 6 is usually either more franchise or corporate based. But I would say the quality of what's coming in is definitely getting stronger. in recent years. I mean, that's up for some debate. Not everyone's a fan of everything there, but all I mean to say is that I think that we've balanced the most transformative stuff we can on the south, middle, and north end of our city with these priorities.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if there's any other questions or motions. I promise we'll get that sign moved, even if it'll get replaced somehow or another.
The governor's office is working on it.
I'll tell you this, if we pass it and that sign switches to Bird's Waterway or Little Cal River, I would expect like a card from Indianapolis that says you're welcome.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify
Can
by
we do a
saying.
roll call vote on this, please?
Sure. Liz, can we do a roll call vote?
Absolutely. Councilwoman Weidenbach,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hurst,
Yes.
Councilman Parnell,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vasquez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ambler,
Yes.
Councilman Alvarez,
Yes.
Councilman Zilli.
Yes.
It was unanimous.
Well, thank you all. I know this is a really big step. It's a really big number. And I also want to fully acknowledge that for anybody who watched us build a fitness park outside of the high school and wondered why couldn't that have been used for something else, and me spending 2 years explaining what different funds are used for, I understand that this is much bigger. But I will say that the transformation that this does to our city, if communicated right, is going to, I think, really do a lot for building our community up. And it's something I'm committed to communicating, as long as I can learn to talk. And that gets us to what might be the most controversial thing at our meeting, Resolution 2617, defining emergency period related to the derecho and subsequent events.
And we have resolution number 26-17, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Portage extending and defining an emergency period related to the August 11, 2026 derecho and subsequent storm events. Let the record reflect that this resolution has been read in its entirety, and I will just summarize simply by stating, and this was something that I included in some usual communications that I have with the City Council. From time to time, it is legally necessary to define what an emergency period is. And so I had done research, and in the recitals, for those who don't know, that's all the whereas paragraphs and all these, resolutions and ordinances. I put a lot of time into the whereas, doing the research with the city departments to get the right data in there about the cubic yards of debris. But I mean, nothing explains why we're still in an emergency period than the comments that I personally have heard tonight. So I would like to join in the thank you parade by thanking the City Council and the Clerk Treasurer and the Mayor for having these discussions, because what we're doing with this resolution is defining our emergency period and giving city departments that flexibility to make efficient decisions. And that's what you have before you.
Thank you. Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I believe that passed unanimously. We do have, I think, another matter that we needed to add. Liz, am I correct? And I apologize, Liz, if that's
Yes.
your role or Dan's, or I know
Yeah.
that came from somewhere. It's a first reading, is that right?
Yes, it's going to be a
Yes.
first reading for ordinance number 2619.
Yes. Ordinance number 2619, an ordinance of the City of Portage, Indiana, amending Chapter 90, Article 5 of the City of Portage Municipal Code entitled Zoning Map. This is a zoning change for property commonly known as the 30.15 acres at approximately the 5500 block on the southern side of US Highway 6, Portage, Indiana. Let the record reflect that this ordinance has been read in its entirety on its first reading.
Yeah, I guess we just had to read that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think that,
It will be put in your Dropbox. I had earlier received it, and I put the agenda out and asked for confirmation of what was on the agenda.
I
And
missed
with
it,
all
so I'm
the,
sorry.
I'm sorry, with all the,
If you want to hear more, and there are people here to speak about like this,
Yeah,
but
they
yeah, I
can-
mean, if they're here, that is fine on a first reading to get information on it. That's perfectly acceptable.
yeah, it'll be in your Dropbox this evening or tomorrow morning.
Well, if the representatives would like to take the podium.
Hi, I'm Kelly McIver. I work for a company called Redwood Living. I have a presentation to give. I can give it next time. I'm happy to share now. I have to say, in light of the gravity of the rest of the meeting that's come before, it seems I would defer to
We totally
whether
get
you'd like
it,
to hear now
and,
or later. There was
Gina-
there was a lot of gravity and a lot of things that seem much more important. Don't tell my boss I said that, but
We
Yeah,
appreciate
so-
we appreciate that whole meeting. And
Yeah.
I think that, of course, anybody can talk to you after, but we'll look forward to your presentation, I think, at the next meeting, if that's okay.
And
Unless-
there was a full presentation at the Plan Commission as well, which is available online. I assume you all presented at Plan Commission, there was a public hearing, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
And I wanted to
And
thank
so-
you, though, you've actually taken the time to meet with all of us to hear our input before even presenting it, so that I appreciate, thank you.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
Only briefly, and again, thank you for meeting with the council members individually, but if you could just briefly, for the people at home who are wondering what this last thing is at the end of the meeting, just briefly, like what the plan is, where it's located, and then if there are other similar developments in the region that people can drive past and see what the proposal is.
Yeah. So Redwood Living builds one thing and one thing only. We build single-story apartment neighborhoods that are age-targeted. Every home has two cars, two bedrooms, two baths, two-car attached garage. If you drove through one of our neighborhoods, you might mistake it for River Trace or the Arbors. That's what they look like, and we own everything we ever built. We're a property management company. We don't flip. We take a lot of pride in how we manage things. The neighborhood that we're looking to build is on Route 6 and Willow Creek, just southeast of the dialysis center, leaving about 350 feet of frontage on 6 for future commercial development. It's the use contemplated by the 2009 comp plan, but as the 2026 comp plan is currently being discussed, so that's that's a separate issue. Our closest neighborhood is in Merrillville. Phase 1 is built and fully leased, and we're building Phase 2 right now. And I look forward to sharing more information or fielding any questions you may have in October or in the interim.
For clarification, it's 6 in Swanson.
6 in Swanson, sorry, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I know that at this point, we've been here for about an hour and a half, which is kind of long it's long for us, not as long as a Valpo council meeting, thankfully, but oh dear, I forgot the press was here, but anyway. Yeah, I was very off the record, but I will say this just as we finish up here. Again, we're going to continue thinking of a million people to thank. I appreciate the chief getting ahead of me on thanking the school system. I also when it came to the gas and working with the city, I also want to acknowledge just all the teachers and staff who, quite frankly, you might think, oh, it's great, you got 2 weeks off. No, they are handling all of the kids coming in on new schedules after experiencing a derecho, and for all the teachers, the staff, we appreciate everything that you guys are doing too for our community. I also want to acknowledge the school custodial and the maintenance staff who work so hard to get our schools open, cleaned up, and accessible again, because the damage to our schools, it varied, but they put a lot of work up all the way to the last day before the kids came back to make sure that was ready to go. I'm going to keep thinking of people to thank. We're going to have to take months to acknowledge everybody individually and in teams. I definitely want to recognize Tracy Marshall, Dan Commenda, and all of your people, Randy Reeder, and everybody who's under your direction, and our whole public works team with you guys here. Dan Bowditch, who's here, who serves as our redevelopment director. You might not think that the redevelopment director would have a major role in a derecho, but he came in for a scheduled meeting at City Hall, not knowing that the storm was going to become an inland hurricane, and he just rolled up his sleeves and joined our command center and did everything he could to help. And I want to thank you, Dan, for being part of that, along with Tom Cherry. I can't do anything I do without Leanne Van Kuren. She is my brain, or second brain, or the other half of my brain, and I know that for me, emotionally, going through the whole process on the city side, it felt, and I compared this for people, it felt a lot like when you've had to, and I hope you've never had to do this, but if you've ever had to plan or run a funeral for somebody, and because you're the one running it, you can't really process it emotionally until everybody else has. That was very much what I felt like. And so I appreciate, of course, Leanne for helping me be able to know that if I wasn't physically in the building at the time, there was somebody there, along with all of our department heads who served in that way. I also want to acknowledge, and I know she's been acknowledged before, but I can't stress this enough, Haley Mack went above and beyond. She
Thank you, I agree.
literally became a organizer, key person with coordinating all the teams. Every machine has those people or those, that make sure everything runs, and that was Haley the whole way through, sometimes working, I think all night, if not almost the entire night. There were points where I'd come in and see her at 4 a.m., and of course I was there, I'd say, oh, hi, or she'd find me when she came in, but literally, I cannot acknowledge enough the amount of work that went into there. I also want to take a moment because to Liz's point, there's really, and again, I think that in your years on the council and in your time in clerk treasurer, if there had been an event like this, I'm sure there would have been things like that too. It's hard to compare what we went through to anything, but the closest that I could compare it with, when you're in a crisis and when you're trying to find anybody who's been in your shoes before, you look for who you can. And a person who really came through for me, who I want to acknowledge, not just for what she did for me during the crisis, but also for her own experience back in 2008, was Mayor Olga Velasquez. She and I, we've talked before at different meetings, we've been here, but for me as a mayor going through a crisis like that, the closest thing I think we could compare it to would be the flooding that we experienced as a community. And Olga was there for me to be able to go over things that happened back then that maybe she wished she knew then, that helped me out this time around, things that worked then, that worked for us now, and just being there, somebody who knew what it's like to be an executive going through that. And she's sometimes at the council meetings, and I don't know if she's watching this one, but whenever she's back, whenever I can find her, it meant the world to me, and thank you so much for being a fellow mayor, to be there for me in that time. And, one last thing. If you've ever been, and I've said this before online, because of course I have, but if you've ever been on a highway for a long time, and then you get off the highway and realize you're speeding because you're used to the highway speed, it's never happened to me, but I was warned about it in driver's ed once, of course, Mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, so many people are still going through that. And I know some people have healed faster than others, maybe because the circumstances you were put through were, I don't want to say lighter, we all got hit, but basically we're all healing and recovering at a different pace. I think it was very easy the first week and second week of the storm to remember that we're all going through something. Now that we're now we're in September, there are still people going through that recovery process in their own life, and I just ask you guys to please remember that some of us may have recovered faster in some way, but we're all still recovering in some way. Some people still literally don't have power in their home tonight. So remember, everyone's facing some battle. Everyone's going through a recovery process, and extending that grace and patience, even as normalcy feels like it's coming back in our personal lives, just let's all try to keep that in mind. And that's all I have to say, unless there's a motion to adjourn or anything else.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.